Good morning, everyone. As a part of e-learning sessions, today we are going to discuss about horizontal jaw relations. Contents of the class includes introduction, definitions, history, muscle involvement in centric relation, significance of centric relation, concepts and objectives, guiding of centric relation, factors influencing centric relation record, methods of recording centric relation, eccentric relations, and conclusion. Coming to introduction. Recording the jaw relation is a very important procedure in the production of complete dentures. An error at this stage can result in dentures that are uncomfortable and even may have the potential to produce damage to many elements of the stomatognathing system. So, the recording of jaw relationship is very crucial. In fact, these intermaxillary relations are three-dimensional. First of these is vertical, that is to establish the amount of jaw separation. Second and third will relate to the horizontal plane, which are concerned with anterior-posterior relations, and coronal plane, which considers the lateral relations of the jaw. So, we can broadly classify these jaw relations into three types. One is orientation of jaw relations, which simply relates to the reference to the cranium. Next, vertical jaw relations, which relates to the amount of jaw separation. Then horizontal jaw relationship, which can be recorded from front to back and side to side relationship between jaws. Among all these three relations, the most difficult relation to record or to make is the horizontal jaw relation, that is in particular centric relation. These horizontal jaw relations will be two types. The most important is centric relation, and other than centric relation there will be protrusive and lateral movements, which comes under eccentric relations. There are many definitions related to the centric relation. Among all the definitions, here we will discuss the most important and significant definitions related to the centric relation. According to Karl O. Boucher, centric relation is the most posterior relation of the mandible to the maxilla at the established vertical dimension. According to Dawson, it is the relationship of the mandible to the maxilla. When properly aligned, these condyle assemblies were in the most superior position against the eminences, irrespective of the tooth position or vertical dimension. These are the definitions according to the textbook Boucher and the Dawson. And our glossary of prosthodontic terms has defined many definitions starting from the GPT-1 to GPT-8. Among these, GPT-1, GPT-3 and GPT-8 definitions are very important. GPT-1 states that the most protruded relation of the mandible to the maxilla when the condyles are in the most posterior unrestrained position in the glenoid fossa, from which lateral movements can be made at any given degree of jaw separation. Whereas in GPT-3, the chronology has been changed. It is the most protruded physiological relation of the mandible to maxilla, and from which the individual can make lateral movements. It is a condition that can exist at various degrees of jaw separation. It occurs around the terminal hinge axis. Now, the most important definition of the centric relation which one must write is GPT-8 definition. Mostly, it states that it is a maxillomandibular relationship in which the condyles will articulate with the thinnest avascular portions of their respective discs with complex antero-superior position against the slopes of articular eminences. I repeat, it is a maxillomandibular relationship in which condyles articulates with the thinnest avascular portions of their respective discs with complex antero-superior position against the slopes of articular eminence. This position is independent of tooth contact. That means centric relation is always a bone-to-bone relation. It is independent of tooth contact. This position is clinically discernible when the mandible is directed superiorly and anteriorly and is restricted to purely rotary movement about a transverse horizontal axis. This definition is very important for centric relation. Here we can see clearly in the pictures how it articulates with the thinnest avascular portions, how it will be the anterior superior position. We can clearly see in the pictures. Centric relation refers to both position and condition of condyle disc assemblies. It is a specific position of the condylar axis. Here the condyles can freely, in this position, the condyles can freely rotate on a fixed axis up to 20 mm of jaw opening without moving out of fully seated position in their respective fossa. That means in this centric relation position, that is in that position, the amount of jaw opening will be almost 20 mm. Thus, mandible can be in a centric relation even when teeth are separated or even if there are no teeth in either jaw. At this most superior position, condyles disc assembly is braced medially. Thus, centric relation is also a midmost position. Then, these centric relation definitions will be changing from past, almost from starting of the 19th century. So the chronology has been completely changed in the defining the condylar position in centric jaw relation. According to McCallum, 1920, it is the rearmost condylar position. Centric relation is nothing but it is a rearmost condylar position. Whereas according to Granger in 1952, it is upmost, rearmost condylar position. Here you can see in the pictures. Whereas according to McCallum, it is almost rearmost. Terminal position, condylar position will be rearmost. Whereas in 1952, according to Granger, it will be upmost and rearmost. Whereas according to Stewart in 1969, it is rearmost, uppermost and midmost. That is centric position we simply call it as a rump position. Rearmost, uppermost and midmost condylar position. Whereas Selenja in 1978, it is anterior uppermost condylar position. Right? So now coming to the significance of centric relation. What is the significance in recording this centric relation? The centric relation is always a position of neuromuscular position. It is a more definite loaned position. It is reproducible, repeatable and recordable position. It is a reference relation for the occlusion. According to centric relation, your centric occlusion will be decided, not the reverse. When centric relation does not coincide in natural dentition and artificial dentition. Errors in mounting the cast on the articulator. It orients the lower cast to the opening axis of the articulator and the mandible. Among all these, you have to remember it is more definite loaned position. It is reproducible, repeatable and recordable position. It is reference point for the centric occlusion. Right? So this is very important, significant of centric relation. Then coming to characteristics of centric relation position. As I previously explained, this centric relation is always a bone-to-bone relationship. It is a border position that do not coincide with the centric occlusion. It is repeatable and recordable position. It is also the functional position assumed during swallowing. That is, when you are recording the centric relation, it always you relate the position maxilla to bone, maxillary bone to the mandibular bone. According to this centric relation, this centric occlusion is decided. Whereas if you come to the natural dentition, there will be one centric relation, and that centric, whereas when teeth will contact, your centric occlusion may coincide with the centric relation or may not. But usually when you are fabricating your complete dentures, after recording the centric relation and centric occlusion will be coinciding, and it is the most functional position assumed during swallowing. Then other aspect in recording the centric relation is the muscular involvement. This muscular involvement plays a huge role in recording the centric relation. This pattern of muscle contraction in centric relation was first studied by Williamson. Contraction of superior head of lateral pterygoid muscle. When contraction of superior head of lateral pterygoid muscle takes place, it places the disc in braced position against the posterior slope of articular eminence. Next one is temporalis muscle, contraction of temporalis muscle. When temporalis muscle has been contracted, it positions the condyle superiorly in close proximity to the articular disc. Next is contraction of masseter and temporalis muscle. This contraction of masseter and temporalis muscles finally places the disc condyle assembly against the slopes of articular eminence. Then contraction of temporalis medial pterygoid masseter muscle. This contraction of these muscles elevates the mandible to a particular vertical relation with the maxilla. Then contraction of posterior belly of digastric and temporalis muscle. These muscle contraction makes the mandible to retrude. Next one is inferior lateral pterygoid muscle. This is only muscle that shows little activity. That is, these muscle will be almost passive in centric relation position. So once again, I repeat the muscles. One is contraction of superior head of lateral pterygoid muscle, contraction of temporalis muscle, contraction of masseter and temporalis muscle, contraction of temporalis, medial pterygoid and masseter muscle, contraction of posterior belly of digastric and temporalis muscle, and the passive muscle in centric relation position is inferior lateral pterygoid muscle. So all these muscular involvements plays a huge role in recording the centric relation. right? So first, after recording your orientation of jaw relation with the help of your face bows, then record your jaw separation by using vertical jaw relation using different methods. Then the most important position to record is your centric relation. So record your bone to bone relationship, centric relation, right? So remember all the muscles involved during the recording of centric relation. What is the significance of centric relation? Everything. In the next class, we discuss about how this centric relation will relate to the hinge axis, how this centric relation will relate to the vertical jaw relation, and what are the characteristics of the centric relation, what are the advantages, disadvantages, and how to record the centric jaw relation. There are different methods to record the centric jaw relation, that is static, one will be the Gothica tracing. So there will be different methods to record the centric relation, right?